If you have Japan and Mexico, who are possibly as close to us as Canada, joining the opposing side, 70% of the world's population that used to use the dollar are going to take this and say, we don't want it anymore.
About 3.2 billion people live in the BRICS nations. That is 2 out of every 5 people on Earth. That is a lot. Now, this organization is saying they do not want to use the dollar for its foreign reserves or for international trade. This is going to be a huge blow to the US dollar and may collapse the United States economy. It has even gotten worse with Mexico applying to join the BRICS nations and Japan, Australia, and almost 20 other countries rumored to be interested too. This is surely not good for the U.S. economy. Robert Kiyosaki warns that this is the time to secure your finances. But how will you secure your finances when you are not subscribed to the best crypto and macroeconomy channel on YouTube? Hit that red subscribe button now.
There's a thing called Triffin's dilemma. Triffin's dilemma meant that for the U.S. to be the world's money, reserve currency in 1944, they had to print extra of this. So the whole world had this in their banks all over the world. They have more of this stuff than any other product in history. This is toilet paper. And what that guy was saying from Kenya is when this stuff starts coming back in, it's just not how much they printed. It's how much they've had in storage because they had to be able to buy oil in this stuff here. So what's going to come back is a tidal wave of this toilet paper upon America. And this little $35 coin here, I don't like to make predictions, but I'd rather have this than this here. And it's really tough to get people to say, no, I'd rather have toilet paper. It makes no sense to me. Janet Yellen herself, the FDIC, and the Federal Reserve Bank will determine which banks survive and which ones die. So Andy called up. He says, we got to do emergency podcast number 1. Number 2 is, what does it mean when Japan and Mexico want to join the BRICS? And the BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and on and on and on. But if you have Japan and Mexico, who are possibly as close to us as Canada, joining the opposing side.
The BRICS alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is exploring the idea of creating a new common currency that could challenge the dominance of the US dollar in global trade and finance. The group of emerging economies plans to share proposals at a forthcoming summit in South Africa, which has sparked discussions on the potential impact on the greenback. The US dollar has been the most traded currency in the currency market and is used as a reserve currency. It is also used in the most international transactions and is traded in the most commodities. In addition, it is considered by traders as a safe haven that investors buy in times of uncertainty. However, some BRICS members have expressed dissatisfaction with the dollar's hegemony and its effects on their monetary policies. For instance, Russia's State Duma Deputy Chairman Alexander Babakov has called for the creation of a new common currency between Russia, India, and the other BRICS nations as a way to push back against USD hegemony. However, there are also challenges and obstacles that could hinder the transition to a new world currency. If the U.S. does not keep its allies close, then this could be a problem. Another issue is the Triffin dilemma. What does it mean? The Triffin dilemma, or Triffin's paradox, is the conflicts of economic interests that arise when a nation's currency also serves as the international reserve currency. In this scenario, there could be differing objectives between short-term domestic policies and long-term international policies. For example, the U.S. dollar is the most widely used reserve currency in the world. This creates a high demand for dollars, which benefits the U.S. by lowering its borrowing costs and allowing it to run large trade deficits. However, this also poses some challenges for the U.S. and the global economy. On one hand, the U.S. has to supply enough dollars to meet the world's demand, which may require it to run persistent trade deficits and increase external debt. This could undermine the confidence in the dollar and its value over time. On the other hand, if the U.S. tries to reduce its trade benefits and debt by tightening its monetary policies or restricting its capital flows, it may create a shortage of dollars in the global market, which could trigger a liquidity crisis and a global recession. This means having the dollar as the global reserve currency is both a blessing and curse for the U.S. economy. Next, Robert talks about banks collapsing.
Please understand that. Question is your money safe in a bank? Or is it going to be stolen by the banks, called a bail-in? The Credit Suisse go down, and that's a bond failure. But Deutsche Bank is a derivatives failure. Now people, what's the difference between a bond and a derivative? So what happened is since 2008, they've been dropping interest rates. And then when they raised interest rates, the bonds started to explode because you have a bond that's paying 2%, and now a bond is paying 8%. The 2% bond collapses, the bank collapses. And that's where the runs of the bank come from. But Deutsche Bank is derivative failure. And derivatives are what Warren Buffett calls weapons of mass financial destruction. And the derivatives market is 1 quadrillion. So we're not speaking about trillions anymore. We're speaking about quadrillions. And a quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. So when these things start to explode and they don't want them anymore because the BRICS was going to take this down, you're going to wish you had some more of these $35 silvers, because this is still real money. This is real money. This here is 1964, a Kennedy $50. It's still pure silver. It's worth $10 today. Do you know what I mean? This is $10, but 50 cents back in 64. So all of this is coming to a head right now. America has been violating all of these laws of money for all of these years, and the world says we've had enough of this. So they're joining the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And what Andy's pointing out, that means 70% of the world's population that used to use the dollar are going to take this and say, we don't want it anymore. And so there's going to be quadrillions of dollars coming back. And the ramifications of that are possibly, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it's called hyperinflation, that this thing goes to trash. This becomes toilet paper, this little dollar here, because there's so much of it out there. And when 70% of the world's population says, we're not going to use this anymore, aloha, what does that mean to the world?
Gold crossed the key $2,000 level on Tuesday for the first time since March of 2020, after data showed U.S. job openings fell below 10 million in February and factory orders also declined. The yellow metal was up 1.7% at $2,017.92 per ounce. Silver followed gold's rally and jumped 3.8% to $24.91 per ounce, its highest level since February 2020. Robert believes this would be the best hedge against the coming crash. What are your thoughts? Remember to subscribe and like this video. A crisis may be looming, and you don't want to lose any updates we have. Adios, and thanks for watching.